Well,
did you, sir? Could I check your ID?
I'll give you.
We've
my
had a
ID.
few guys come into this club lately that have been dyeing their hair silver.
And actually, I'm going to correct you there. This is not a club. It never will be a club. This
it's
is
not a club?
pub.
A pub. It is. It's like a local, right?
It is a local.
Down the street. You
Actually,
go spend the evening, order a pie.
Almost local enough for me, but it's my. This is my local.
It is, yeah, it's my local too.
Bitter end. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, off to the local. Play a quick game of snooker.
Yeah.
In our case, a long game of snooker, and have
Well, we haven't
a
even
drink.
tossed out the the bitter end, right? If we're at the bitter end, at least there's a bar.
At least there is a bar,
Yeah.
and I believe, in the sense of I've been here before, done these already. The bottle being on the table. This means it's,
Oh no!
this means it's a bonus. Bonus
The bottle's
episode,
on
right?
the table.
It means we don't have to walk around.
No.
We're not doing any numbers. Flash doesn't have to.
You know, the last time we didn't have to walk around anyway for a regular episode. I think the bottle was right behind us.
Well, not that I'm not, same as the last couple of times I've said, I'm not going to divulge anything, but yes, it was behind us.
Yep.
It was behind us.
So I'd say this, as everybody should know, the bonus episodes, we know what we're getting into. This is actually a rare bonus episode, and I believe it to be the first of its kind. And what I mean by that, Mal, is that the bottle that we're opening in bonus episodes are almost have never been available anywhere else in the bar. It's been the only example that we have or have left. This is the opposite.
Oh, really?
This particular bottle I picked up in a store out of state. I spent some time with the owner of the store in the back room, trying bottles, having a good time, trying bottles, laughing. I actually got some whiskey memorabilia from him as well that hangs in the snooker room. And this particular bottle really struck my fancy. And I was actually there with my father-in-law.
All right. Yep.
At the Thanksgiving holiday, there's that thing afterwards, Black Friday, whatever. And the women in our lives, the wives, and and all this, would get together and do whatever. He and I would jump in a rig and hit like 4 or 5, 6 liquor stores. And he's passed away about a year ago, and we're going to talk about that at some point when we sit in his corner here. And you're going to join me on the whiskey run moving forward.
I believe so. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's obviously big shoes to fill, and I don't plan to, but just to be able to go on that trip with you will be quite an adventure.
And so we'll probably do something around that trip, which is coming up next month. This bottle, I grabbed at that store, and my father-in-law, his name was Dave. Dave and I think we probably bought 4 or 5 of these bottles. And I think, and I'd have to look at the front, and I will, but I think there was only 558 of these in the world. And we're like, yeah, how many we'll take them all. Because that was one of the bottles we were trying in the back room. And it was a unique experience, and whether we'll replicate it today, I definitely recall it being 2 distinct whiskeys, a front end and a back end with a clear separation point. And we were so impressed by it that we bought all the bottles that he had. And there was, obviously limited distribution with only 558. Let's see if I got that right. 558 globally. And so this bottle, Malcolm, is the bottle that I opened for my 50th birthday. That was my choice. Now, that was late in the evening. The sun had gone down, and as had much whiskey. But I thought it was worth us trying it again. Fairly clean palated. We've had a beer, but fairly clean palated. Let's try this whiskey.
So, 1998 vintage cask number 3 is
Yes.
the tag.
So this is a single cask.
Yep.
From 1998. So what we know about this is it's a Glenrothes. It's a Speyside.
Yep.
Up your alley. Limited edition of 558 bottles. This was distilled in 1998, and it was bottled in 2015. So let's talk a little bit about that. So we know it's 50. So it's a 17-year-old.
Yep.
And it's an exclusive bottling at Cask strength, 58.3% alcohol. And do they tell us the cask number? They don't. Vintage cask number 3. Oh, so what's neat about Glenrothes is that they put their little tasting notes in cursive writing on the label, and they make it smaller than all the other words. So we're gonna give it a go here. Character: honeyed lemon.
Don't you have a pair of glasses that you use for fly
Listen,
fishing?
I got my magnifiers. I got it though. Honeyed lemon, cooked apples and pears. And, the distiller's name approved this. So, honeyed lemon and cooked apples and pears.
So like a fruit pie.
Very citrusy, yeah. Like a fruit pie. Again, I recall it being two distinct flavors.
All right.
So, this was my birthday bottle turning 50.
So I'm just gonna. So just so we give a taste to the viewers. Obviously, this bottle was opened on your 50th, or you tried it for your 50th.
So that would be about a year and a half ago from here is when we opened the
Right.
bottle. And it is time to start to finish this bottle.
But I also see, this is where I was going with this, I also see that this bottle is rather empty compared to some bottles.
So there are plenty of times when that would be a solid measure of quality. But for my 50th, you'll remember that I invited folks from the spectrum of my
Oh,
life.
that's right, there was a lot.
Right, and I think we were just shy of 100 people here on property.
Yep, there was a lot.
We had the live band. And so the folks who stayed to the point where I pulled the bottle and opened for my birthday, there were a number of rounds.
That's right.
So I think the birthday toast was probably, 15 give or take Scotch drinkers.
Yeah.
We weren't sharing this with just everybody, and everybody. A lot of folks, turned down whiskey straight. This was for the Scotch drinkers.
Yes. That's right. There was a few of us drinking out there.
And I do recall, since then I've had a glass or two, and maybe so play a little snooker.
Yeah, have a glass.
So we're going to pay attention to it tonight.
Yes, and now I for the viewers out there, a nice golden color. It definitely is. It's very, very inviting.
Sometimes you'll have that spring honey, which is very golden, right? Very
Yes.
light, right? This is more of like a summer honey. The fall honeys will get a lot darker. So this just almost screams flavor.
Yeah, it really does look like it's got like a good burst of color.
It feels like it has some texture, some viscosity. It's oily a little bit. It really seems like there's going to be some flavors in there. And again, I'm curious if I can find those two distinct flavors or not.
All
All right, the Glenrothes,
The
1998, 17-year-old,
this is,
single cask,
53%, you said?
58, I think. Upside
53.
down, 58.3.
Oh, 58.3. So it's got some kick to it. Two distinct tastes, you say?
Yeah, again, very
Flavor
subtle
profiles.
on the cork, but the bottle is so low.
Yep. I do like the Glenrothes.
I do too, and I think this nose is gonna just make you even happier.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's just pleasant all the way around.
Yeah, just very pleasant.
You can definitely smell the honey.
Yes,
You get that flavor profile right off the cork.
right. That layered sweetness, and of course, honey is the honeycomb and all this, but
Not overly, not sickly, just a nice, pleasant taste. Almost like the color. Just
so I can see at least 2 more of these bottles in this bar. Like I say, so this is the first time we've had the bonus edition be a bottle that we could, in theory, pull in our regular episodes.
which will be interesting if we do pull it. Let's just say we pull it a couple of years down the road.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if we say the exact same thing.
Well, what's interesting is the full bottles haven't, and a bottle
True.
of Scotch can go
Exactly.
100 years sitting in the
Correct.
bottle due to the pure state. And so now we've exposed this whiskey to oxygen for a year and a half. So there really could be some flavors,
difference,
some differences.
which is that's an actually interesting point
Yeah.
because obviously once you open something, you've exposed it to another
broken the
element.
seal.
Correct.
Right.
So and this obviously is set for a little while because it's 50th. That's 2 years ago. Right?
A year and a half, right?
Year and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah.
So you figure 2 years open. It's obviously been open, and we had a drink or two of it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been exposed to air. So it has definitely be interesting to see
Yeah.
what happens with that.
All right, so the 1998 Vintage Cask number 3, 17-year-old Glenrothes, 558 bottles in the world. So I was in the back room of a store in another state, and the fellow pulls this bottle up probably 5 in the afternoon, because the way our loop would run is we'd run down the East Coast a little bit and turn in and try to move inland before we return to New Hampshire. And I think on this particular trip, I think we hit 4 states and 5 stores. And this was the end of the line. This was probably one of the last whiskeys. Because sometimes, fellas in the liquor store, if it's a privately owned establishment, not state-run monopoly,
they're not scared.
right? You can, and if you've spent a little time there and you've earned your bones,
yeah.
right? Sometimes you can go into there. There are still back rooms in this world that you can go into and have a drink. And so, so do you want to go or you want me to
go? Okay, so I'm going to just quickly, I'll just start with this quickly. I don't get a distinct...
Right, I'm not finding these two.
Okay, so go.
Yeah, so we're okay there.
You go.
All right. So for whatever the reasons are, I'm not having this front and back unique experiences, which I definitely recall when the bottle was fresh. But what I am having is a citrus-esque.
Yep.
Not citrusy.
No.
A citrus-esque experience that builds up, cascades, and drops off, and feels like for a second it might give you a... but it doesn't materialize. Almost as if like a lemon cough drop might do to you. That might give you that little bit of, this is to treat what ails you, but this is to smooth that experience out so that it doesn't bother you. So it's a nice citrus-esque experience that doesn't bring me to a cough or a...
That's actually really interesting. So to expand on that, and to throw this word that my wife came up and said, why didn't you just use that word? This is actually a rather pleasant journey. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm in a little cart on a road. The sun's beating down on me, and I'm getting this really nice little journey. I get this sweetness, this citrus sweetness that sort of travels along, and it doesn't overpower. It doesn't do anything drastic. And at the very end, you get this soothing, almost little warmth. Just enough to say, hey, look, I'm just gonna keep you going. I would certainly not think this was at 58.
No, this does not scream high alcohol.
No, based on the fact that I nearly finished the entire drink on my first sip, and I was like, oh, that's right, we're doing the show.
It's almost, we'll go back to the journey. We were 40 miles outside of Las Vegas when the whiskey began to kick in, and that's that cask strength whiskey that you don't know you're drinking. Cask strength whiskey.
But this is I'm not going to say I'm disappointed, but I definitely was waiting for this break.
I wish we hadn't have I hadn't have prefaced it with this is what I recall, this is what
But I think it's good that you did, because now all of a sudden I'm interested to see, okay, when we crack open the real
fresh bottle. Yeah.
Or should it be some fresh bottle?
Yep.
Are we going to get that? Am I going to experience that and be like, holy moly, it was right?
There's going to be a couple of these 2 citrus flavors in here that's really just mellowed out and citrus-esque journey.
Yeah, no, this is...
Maybe it's like driving across the panhandle of Florida from sun to sunset, sunrise to sunset. We've taken this, the heat of the sun and then the calm, and we're at the beach. We ended at the beach without a campfire. It's just so warm out. It's just so nice. We didn't have any snow.
No, and it really is. It's just this is one you could definitely. And we go to this every so often. I'm going to say it straight out. I could sit here and just drink this all day long. I'm probably paying for it, Leah, but no, this is rather pleasant, and I'm going to do it because I do it every time. But I don't think I really would need to, in the sense of, but just for something different. But that's really...
Yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere with a water or an ice. I'm just going to, I have the...
I can understand, put it this way, I can understand...
I rarely use it.
...why you got 5 of those.
Yeah, we bought all that he had.
Because
we knew we were never going to have an opportunity
to allow it to get away, based on the fact that where we are, and this is something that's has transpired over many years.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's always been taken to since... you've taken this very seriously, and I think a lot of us have always freaking been on that freaking on the journey with you in the sense like, well, if he's going to keep doing it, well then let's just keep freaking expanding horizons. So to come across a gem like this and allow it to go, same as there's another round in here that I know, and I'm like, one of the reasons why I come back because I was like, oh, one of it's a bottle. One of it's going to open a bottle, but same difference being,
I like Mad Dog too.
Definitely, especially 2020.
Yeah,
but this is just wonderful. So
it
I'm
is.
gonna try it
Again, easy drinking, nice Florida journey.
So the only thing I will say with this, with the putting ice in it, it's certainly freaking made the back end of this more pronounced. I'm getting a little bit more of spiky. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is where this was going, but it's still enjoyable, still pleasant.
Right. So you say the ice brings up the back end.
Correct.
And I just finished my glass, and so I guess I have to have a little more for the toast.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. But
it's your bar.
Very, very, very honeyed on the front.
Yeah.
And then with all that citrus-esque lining.
But that is really, that's really good.
You got enough for the toast?
Yeah. I don't want to.
I'm just saying, man, that's a nice glass of whiskey. I think we're just proving your theory of I could sit here and drink this all day.
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah, it goes down. I mean, again, and it is again this idea that 58.3.
And this is and just to put this out there, right? We've been together. I've known you for like 25 years.
Well,
since the 90s.
2020. Yeah, for
since
sure.
Since the 90s. So when we discuss drinking,
25, man.
at least 25.
At least.
So if we when I discuss drinking with my friend,
you're
here,
old.
Well, I am old. We've definitely seen a few bars, had some good times, done stages.
More than just one country,
So,
more than just one region.
When I say I could sit here and drink this with you, I'm talking over an extended period of a day. I'm not sitting here to just drink it like within an hour.
This isn't like 9 to midnight.
Correct.
No, we could crack this at 4 in the afternoon and drink till 2 in the morning,
and just
sit
enjoy
around the fire, sit in the
have
bar,
a cigar, and just and
talk
shoot the shit
life,
and
right?
and have a good time. And this is one of those ones where I would say, hey, look, and there's a couple more that we've done. There's one where we haven't released. I don't think we've released it yet. In the same vein, you could sit and enjoy yourself and get yourself to a point where you get a good buzz going, and just pleasantly enjoy every drink you get out of this bottle.
Right. There's nothing risky about this bottle. There's nothing robust. It is just a easy drinking with a lot of character.
Correct.
Right. It's not absent the character. A lot of easy drinking whiskeys, folks will be like, oh, that was so smooth. Right. But there's not a lot of character sometimes in those. And this has a lot of that honey citrus character that really says, to many folks, I would think that would, what they think a Scotch is, would say, this is not what I think a Scotch is.
No. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And apart from the old Palate, which is the one that is now I'm going to preface because we've done
the 21.
The 21.
Yeah.
Which was
Whiskey of the
truly
year.
an expansive, so much going on.
Yep.
And you could pick these different things out and you could enjoy it for what each piece was. This, in a similar vein, is just a great influx of flavors that goes right across.
Yep.
Doesn't get pretentious. Just sits there and says, hey, you know what?
But if it was a graph of flavors, this whiskey stays all within its flavor group.
Correct.
Sometimes, like the old Palate 21 or some other whiskeys that we've had, whether they've been released or not, really shows the green line, the blue line, the purple line, right? This flavor group, that flavor group, peaking at different points. And that's when we talk about lots of complexity.
Yeah.
Right. Here, we're just taking the journey of the citrus line, right? The honey citrus line, right? And finding its peaks and its valleys.
Yep.
A little less of this, a little more of this,
Yep.
and now, all day.
Yep.
You could drink this
All day.
all day.
And I can understand why you got 5 bottles of it.
Yeah. No, well, if you could find the 98 Cask number 3, you should buy it. So we'll wrap it up. So I don't think this is a country as much as it is a dialect from a country.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, so in Yiddish, and I know of no country of Yid, I think in literature there might be a Yod or a Nod, but there is not a Yid. And so Yiddish, which I believe to be the casual language of Jewish people.
I believe so.
And I may be wrong, but I like to make stuff up on the spot. But I think it's sort of like, what are they, like Creole in Louisiana or something? I think it's like this
dialect.
Dialect, a casual dialect of a people. And so in Yiddish, which we are confident is part of the Jewish culture,
Yep.
the way they say cheers, and again, so they've spelled it fairly accurately, unlike we've done an episode about the Welsh, where their spelling is just like, I don't know, you just throw the alphabet down the stairs or whatever, like a Scrabble board, whatever letters landed face up, that's how you spelled it. In Yiddish, that you say cheers this way. Say Gisan.